Hey Dissectomaniacs, Trip here. Wanted to let you know about a very cool podcast app for Android users. It's called Podcast Republic. If you're interested in checking it out, go to the Google Play Store and download the Podcast Republic app. It is a very cool app that lets you get all your favorite podcasts directly onto your Android devices, so tablets, phones, what have you. You search for the podcast you want to listen to, and you make them your favorites, so you have them all just a click away. So if you do want to check out a new podcast app and you're an Android user, head on over and check out Podcast Republic, and make sure you set Dissecting the 80s as a favorite so you don't miss any episodes from us. Once again, that is the Podcast Republic app, a new friend of the show. Thank you guys very much. Welcome to Dissecting the 80s. I am one half of the mega podcasting powers, Trip Lano, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, a man who knows that if your series is headed to Manhattan, things are probably not in great shape. The Macho Man Drew.
Andrew Lano, and don't you dare talk about my Muppets that way.
That's true. I guess the Muppets is a logical move, but when your
Slasher.
when your summer camp based slasher movie is heading to Manhattan, problems might abound.
Or space.
Yes. Well, space I'm okay with.
That's true. Jason X I can mess with.
We are kicking off the month of Takes Manhattan because we like puns. And also there's two inexplicable decisions for movies to be called Takes Manhattan that have nothing to do with each other. We watched Jason Takes Manhattan, so you know what that means.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your inexplicable New Jersey to Manhattan cruise ship. Something's gotta be done about your inexplicable New Jersey to Manhattan cruise ship.
When the mega powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott.
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega powers, yeah.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
If that wasn't perfect, I'm done, and we're using that. Also, once we said it, I would love to see Jason square off against the Muppets.
Like that Miss Piggy, end very poorly for a lot of felt creatures.
Only the one-off ones, like the Coconut Muppets from the Great Muppet Caper, but Miss Piggy would hold her own and kick his ass.
I don't think that's how that would go. I think it depends on who makes the movie, I guess. But I think she would lose.
No, not Miss Piggy. Not the feminist icon, Miss Piggy.
So we start off with the title card, and it's a Horror Inc. production, which is the laziest ever one. So every movie creates a production company for just that movie. So if someone gets sued, it doesn't collapse the whole studio. It's part of Hollywood math and accounting. And there's all these one-off production companies. Horror Inc. is very bad as far as names go. But also, how is it not taken by 1988 or 9, whenever this was?
Yeah, I don't know. You would have thought that John Carpenter would have grabbed that one first.
Or way back in the early days of silent films.
But were they doing that then? Or is that practice?
That's a good point.
Once
the
I don't 60s know. Happened.
I don't know. That's a good point.
We are dropped smack into the middle of the seedy, lawless, disgusting New York that only exists in children's cartoons and 80s movies.
Also, it's Vancouver.
Well, yes.
It's definitively, even to my very little time spent in New York, this is not New York City.
Yes, it is. There's so much graffiti everywhere that it almost feels like the post-apocalyptic future.
Yes.
That's the level of graffiti. Again, I've not been to New York a whole lot, but I've been there enough to know that not every square inch of every building is covered in graffiti.
Well, to be fair, this is pre-Disney New York, right? The New York was pretty seedy. Fair. So but I guarantee this movie is worse than it ever actually was.
Yeah, this movie is very much, it feels like the Mad Max New York.
Yeah. No, because we've talked about this before. We never saw dirty New York. By the time we went to New York City, it had been long cleaned up and was, Disneyfied is what people like to call it. But there was definitely an era where you would not want to walk around Times Square.
Oh, yeah.
So we got some music going, and it's a total ripoff of I've Been Waiting for a Girl Like You by Foreigner.
Yes, it is.
It's this horrible synthy pop, cheesy nonsense.
Inexplicably, two high school seniors are all alone on a big-ass boat.
Yeah.
Whose parents' boat is that?
I don't know, but it's this like 25 or 35 foot.
It's basically the boat from Overboard.
Yeah, it's a very nice boat, and it also is way too big for the lake that it's in, but although later we have a cruise ship in the lake, so I guess this lake is just an infinite depth.
It basically is you walk from the bow to the stern, and then you get offshore, and the other shore.
Exactly. It's just permanently lodged there. It's implanted in the bottom of the lake. So they're fooling around on this boat, and we get the previously on Jason montage through this guy explaining the mythos, which I love to see how they do this in all the movies, because there's only one way, there's two ways you could do this. You could do a previously on Jason montage and then start the movie, which would be fine. Or you have to have a character painstakingly recount the mythos. And at this point, it's so long and it takes forever.
So my best friend Heather and I always made these jokes in college of wait, Susie, you've never heard about the murders at Camp Crystal Lake? And it's always like Susie and Chad, and it's Chad, you're really starting to freak me out. And we got both of those within 5 minutes.
I know, it's so good. It's so cheeseball.
This is the horror movie about horror movies. And even Jason, I have to say, spoiler alert for the rest of the movie, he feels a little silly, this movie.
Yes, I later called this Jim Halpert as Jason.
Yes!
Because there's several times where he looks at the camera and you can imagine him making a smug Jim Halpert face the whole time. This is actually a lot of people's favorite Jason. I believe this is the first time Kane Hodder played him, and he played him a few times. And a lot of people...
This was the first for him?
I think so. We could double check that, but I think that it's the first time Kane Hodder played Jason, and people really, really like him as Jason. He's a frequent. He pops up frequently at the Comic-Con convention type places for photo ops and stuff like that. There was just one recently where he was there for 2 days and wearing 2 different Jason costumes on different days, so you could get
burlap and then face mask.
Yeah, exactly. Or it was Jason X and whatever, which I was like, what the hell? And then I realized oh, he's a genius, because some crazy nutbags will pay for 2 different pictures then of the same thing.
Yes, they will.
Yes.
He'll take that nerd money all the way to the bank.
Yes, literally directly to it. At the Celebrity Petting Zoo, all of your money is available. All your money spends well. So they drop the anchor of the boat, and this is the dumbest way I think Jason... the second dumbest way Jason gets brought back to life. I was going to say,
lightning rod in a churchyard is pretty bad.
That lightning rod in a churchyard takes the cake for worst. But this boat, dragging an anchor and then catching a power line that's submerged in the lake that also is touching Jason and zaps him back to life, is very ridiculous.
Once I saw it, all I wanted to happen was that, I didn't want to see Jason's, coffin at the bottom. I wanted to see a shark carcass still biting it. And then the shark gets zapped back to life. That's the Jaws that I want. I want the stupid explanations to why this shark is still coming after this family.
We have Jason Jaws, basically.
Jawson
Jawson is wearing the hockey mask and swimming around with a machete.
I don't need the hockey mask, but I'm okay with the hockey mask. Jawson's Creek.
Jawson's Creek. All right.
It didn't look like young Jason was deformed in the first flashback.
No, it doesn't. And I think that this character who's having the flashbacks is from the previous movie, which I have seen before, but not in a long time. And so I think it was directly picking up some elements of plot from the previous movie that was just lost on us.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The last one that we watched for the show is 4?
4, yeah.
Which is the one with a Corey in it, right?
Yes, Corey Feldman is in it. And I genuinely love Friday the 13th Part 4. Whenever I'm in the mood for an 80s slasher movie, that's the one I put on.
Tommy is in it.
Yes. I think Halloween is a better movie, but Halloween is
Agreed.
A completely different type of thing. It's a different flavor. And so I've had many on a party, a horror movie party, where Friday the 13th Part 4 is the final one of the night, because it's perfect. It recaps all the Jason mythos around a campfire, which is just real good spooky ambiance. And
That's what you want.
And then he rolls through a bunch of really creative ways to kill people. So that's what you like. That's what you come for in a Jason movie. Like you want to watch him do a bunch of murder, and you want them to be entertaining to watch. And it's like a weird thing to like, I guess. But that's the mark of a good Jason movie is how insane the killing is.
There were some lame kills in this one, I have to say.
There are, but there are a few inventive ones. So we can kind of work our way through this. But he comes out of the lake here and is all slimy and disgusting, which I really dug. I thought it was a cool twist on Jason just showing up like being fine and dandy, which he's normally gross, but this was like a particularly gross Jason. I really dug
Drippy,
it.
goopy, slimy, and they saved some money by not showing his full body for the first like 5 minutes of his being on screen. It was like, here's an arm, and I want to see the PA who just has one goopy arm and the rest of his outfit is fine.
I assumed it was actually Kane Hodder.
I mean, I'm sure it was, but I think in my head canon where it's like, hey, you, PA, put down the cocaine and get over here. Put on this glove.
I was starting to say just Kane as if we were like chummy, and then I remembered there's a wrestler Kane, and I was like, there are 6 people out there who are going to be like, wait, Kane the wrestler is in this? So I had a real weird speech pattern there. I was shocked there was no nudity in this scene.
Yeah.
This is like, usually the part of Friday the 13th.
There was a boob.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have shocked that there's no nudity. I must have been looking down taking a note, so sorry about that. The boyfriend... No, I'm sorry. There is no nudity at this part. There is nudity later. This is the part where the boyfriend comes in with a fake knife and pretends to be Jason.
Oh, the nudity had already happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we get the, Chad, you're really starting to freak me out, Chad. And he appears with a fake knife and a Jason mask and stabs her in the stomach.
Yeah, it's really one of those great, like, if you're thinking about doing here's a PSA from Dissecting the 80s. If you're thinking about doing a prank, don't. Pranks are dumb.
No, here's the thing. I'm not going to say across the board pranks are dumb. There can be a few fun little pranks. But, like, you don't, like, this is not a prank. Like, this goes into our category of, like, can we just have you and I have a TED Talk about this is not a prank? And it's just us listing things that aren't pranks?
We'll have to do a special episode that's just, here's a list of acceptable pranks. Anything that's not on, because that's shorter, right? Like,
that's true. Otherwise you're going to be like, hitting your friend with your car.
Yeah.
Throwing a hammer out a window.
Feeding a homeless man toothpaste-filled Oreos. Like, people, like, teenagers are psychos.
Thing.
That's just 2 kids got arrested for doing that for a YouTube video.
Jesus Christ.
Opened up Oreos, scraped the delicious fake cream filling out of it, filled it back up with toothpaste, found a homeless man, and then fed it to him. That's a psychotic behavior.
Yeah, it is. That is punch. That is face punch and toss him in a cell.
Anyway, so the boyfriend does the fake knife. Jason grabs a spear gun and misses, which is uncommon for Jason. He's usually a dead eye.
I thought that was weird.
It's almost where I never actually want this. Prequels are always stupid, but I almost want the prequel where like Jason's like activities at camp are covered. There's like a flashback sequence where it's like Jason's shooting archery, Jason.
Oh, I like that.
It's just like, and they're like, wow, Jason, you're like very good at all these things.
You're very good at javelin and shot put and archery.
Yeah. I wanted to be
long range harpooning.
Jason was secretly like the things that would make you popular at camp, like being good at sports, and still the counselors hated him because, like, I don't know, maybe he was allergic to peanuts and it caused them not to have.
He was deformed, so everyone hated him.
I thought he wasn't deformed until after the accident.
No, he died in the accident. He was always, from what I remember of the Jason mythos, is that he always was sort of like his face was always messed up.
Okay. So that would be perfect then. The people are like, he's the perfect star athlete, but he looks weird, so we don't like him. I would be on board for that.
Yeah. It's the first thing of like, this movie is 15 minutes too long.
Yes, it is very much too long for a Jason movie. 95 is your absolute upper limit for this for me, and this is like an hour 45 almost.
It's too much. They fake you out. They give you a solid ending because they brought him back to life with electricity, and then they kill him with electricity. And I was like, good, bookends. Creative storytelling.
Of life. Like, exactly perfect, yeah. I did like, though, so he misses with the gun, and then he just uses the spear gun itself as a weapon, and I really did enjoy him just jabbing this like, weirdly shaped blunt object into this man's chest cavity until it went through him. Like, it was gross in the good way.
Yeah, it was. And then he rips the harpoon spear whatever, out of the wall, and like stalks around the boat to find the girl, and finds her, lifts the little like cubby hole where she's hiding, and there's
It's such a bad hiding spot. Just jump off the dang boat. You can see the shore.
Yeah, but I feel like he can swim, or like water is good for him.
It's soothing. It helps his muscles.
I mean, water's not good for him. He died in the water originally.
After a long day of murdering teenagers, nothing helps me like getting into my infinity pool and doing a nice 20. Stretches
I
out
want
your
that
muscles.
commercial.
I feel like a half-inch taller. This has been Jason Voorhees for infinity pools. You know, this tiny tub you put in your basement with a motor on one end of it.
I like that. Although, okay, hang on. Another digression. Have you ever seen clips of the Friday the 13th video game?
Yeah.
Okay. That game gives Jason teleportation powers.
Yes. Because
So
he has them.
It's officially canon that, like, that's why he was able to do that.
Yeah, it would explain a lot of the Jason mythos. But you're right. He probably would have heard the splash and it might have alerted her. But you have a better chance of getting away. Like, it's a slim chance. There's no chance he's not going to find you hiding in this, like, porthole cubby hole at the front of the boat.
Yeah. So he opens it, and then there's too many minutes of her screaming and begging for her life before he stabs her.
It's so
and
uncomfortable.
I was like, guys, you're padding this runtime.
But not only that, like, the person who wants that is not the person you should be making this movie for. Like,
No.
I like watching teenagers get killed in a Jason movie because it's like done for comedic effect. The guy who likes that is a creepo. Like this, if you're enjoying her literally begging for her life on screen, it's gross and uncomfortable. It's not the tone is just so wrong for these movies. This is supposed to be a fun, lighthearted teenage murdering.
Yeah, I want to see asshole teenagers, jerk parents, spoiled rich kids. Like, those are I want to see them be awful people and then watch them get killed.
Yep. I want good, and then the best kid doesn't have to die. That's
Exactly.
sort of the way.
And
this
maybe
works.
her boyfriend. It depends.
Yeah, it's just very creepy, and he like stabs her really slowly, and it just is very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
So we cut to this everybody getting on the cruise ship. And
The
this
Lazarus.
yes, like already a bad sign. And this teacher.
I thought it was a mom. I thought it was mother and daughter driving to the dock, and then she's like, "You're my favorite student," and I was like, "No, it's weird."
Yes, because they have a very parental relationship. It's like, for sure, it's that kind of relationship that you're describing. But then she goes, "Oh, I got you a gift," and she opens it and she says, "Oh, this is Stephen King's pen." There is literally no way for this object to be in this woman's possession in the 80s. Just 0% chance.
No. Also,
Like
there's
what
no
did she-
provenance on a fountain pen.
Right. But like, what did she do? Like, go put an ad in the newspaper or purchase it from an ad in the newspaper? This lady bought a pen that some schmuck overcharged her for, and she bought the story because she's not very smart. Like,
Unless
the
she
only
went to
explanation.
Maine.
Yeah, unless Stephen King himself gave her the pen, and also, like, why would Stephen King have kept this pen?
If you buy it from someone in Maine, I instantly am more likely to believe you because Stephen King hasn't left Maine since 1950.
But like, what if it is Stephen King's like childhood writing pen? One, wouldn't he want to keep that for a memento? And two, if he sold it, like, I just don't buy it. The whole thing to me just seems wishy-washy at best.
Agreed.
Also, just an aside here, because I have it written down at this moment for no reason. Leonard Maltin calls this the best Jason movie.
I saw that.
So this is the roundup of all the characters that we're going to watch get killed during the movie. So we get the smart girl with the fountain pen. Then we go to the boat's cabin, and the captain has his son in there, and he's like trying to pass the torch, so to speak. And he's talking about boat stuff with his kid.
He's
and
real
like,
waffly, the dad.
What's that? Yeah, he kind of is.
He's like, I'm real proud of you. Here's something that I used and something that you're going to use to pass the torch forward. And then instantly is like, look, you fuck up. You're ruining everything. You don't know how to sail a boat.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Dad, calm down.
Also, this is kind of like an intense moment for this kid. He's like, all right, just get the boat ready to leave shore. And it's like, I might like kind of know this, but like, I don't know that I'm ready for this,
He also was like just told that he was going to have this responsibility for human life and then instantly has to jump into that role.
Yeah, no, it is not good. It is not good at all. So Jason climbs aboard.
No, Jason drives their boat to this dock and then climbs aboard. You can't forget that part, that Jason knows how to drive a boat.
Right. Again, I do want to see like a montage of like child Jason, like I want to see him like split an arrow in twain. I want to see him cast a fishing rod and just like land it on a fish. Like the fish is like jumping to catch a real fly, and Jason like gets the hook in its open mouth as it gets real food. It's just like boom, and gets it. I want to see him like spear gunning a thing. Like all of this I want it real bad. So we got a boat montage of boat activity, which I really enjoyed. And also, like, not only is there no conceivable way for a cruise ship to go from Crystal Lake in New Jersey to Manhattan, just like logistically, that's impossible.
Just none.
Yeah. The part of it that I really enjoy is if that were possible, that's like 4 hours, 6 tops. Like it's a very short distance from New Jersey.
It's not an overnight cruise.
No, and they're playing shuffleboard and like doing
skeet shooting.
Yeah, like off the back of the boat. It's like there are way too many. It's an actual cruise ship's amount of planned activity that would be like you're on a boat for a week and they're on it for at most 3 to 4 hours.
Apparently, everyone in the cast also noticed this fact, but didn't say anything because they wanted the job.
I buy that. I mean, I could totally see just like, shut up, Derek. Don't ruin this for the rest of us.
Look, we're all teenagers.
There's also like a discotheque. Like they go have a dance party. And
with
it's like
the shortest ceiling I've ever seen.
Well, it is on a boat, to be fair.
Even still, it's so short.
And we've talked about this with other teenager movies, but the main hunky boy in this looks 40. And I have such a hard time buying him.
She
as
looks
a
30, so it's not...
Yes. Yeah, I agree. But he looks so old. He gives her this Statue of Liberty.
The ticky-tackiest gaudy costume
it's
jewelry.
so bad. It's like what a little kid would buy for their parents at those like Santa's workshop things schools do for elementary school students, where it's like you can buy a gift for your parents. Like if you pinched this thing, it would just become like a little ball of aluminum foil because I'm pretty sure that's what it's made of.
Yeah.
And they go
I thought it was going to be Chekhov's tacky, gaudy costume jewelry.
Like Jason was going to get a Statue of Liberty in the eye or something?
Something. Or like that was going to be the clue of where to go. Like Jason was going to take her somewhere and she was going to leave it as a clue. Like I thought it was going to be more important.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That would have been a cool idea.
He also recommends they hike up the Statue of Liberty, and that just feels like the wrong verbiage to me.
100% that's the wrong. I mean, it is a lot of steps you climb, but I think climb the Statue of Liberty even makes more sense.
You don't hike.
Yeah. We also get a cool POV of the video camera that the guy is shooting with. And I was kind of curious if it was kind of interesting to me that they thought to do that, but didn't make the movie that because, you know, it certainly was right there that there's there's a few POV shots in this movie that I thought could have led to that kind of thing.
Yeah, because that's when we're introduced to knockoff Joan Jett and I'm going to say Dollar Store, not Christoph Waltz.
Well, Dollar Store Joan Jett is playing a guitar that is bright hot pink and black, and so
it's
for
Gem and the Holograms.
Any other wrestling people out there, she's just playing Bret Hart as a guitar.
No, what's his from Back to the Future 2? No, Back to the Future 1, not 2.
Crispin Glover?
Thank you.
Okay.
He's like Dollar Store Crispin Glover with a mushroom hair and glasses and a video camera.
Well, then there's a lot of Dollar Store actors in this movie because the next person that we talk to a bunch is Dollar Store Robert Loggia, who's playing this biology teacher.
I hated him so much.
He is the uncle of the fountain pen girl that we talked about earlier.
Rennie is her name.
Rennie is her
I only
name,
remember
yes.
because it's so stupid.
But he is absolutely 100% Dollar Store Robert Loggia, and I love it.
And so they hint for like 20 damn minutes of this movie that she like shouldn't be on the lead girl Rennie shouldn't be on the boat, and like all of this mystery about like why she shouldn't be on the boat. And I was like, is she just afraid of water? Because we already have that, and it's Jason. So stop teasing like this. Like it's a new thing.
Spoiler alert, yes, she's just afraid of water. And also we find out later, spoiler alert again, it's because he's a psycho and he just like pushed her off a boat.
He's
as
always
a
been an
child.
asshole.
Like, get out of here with this nonsense. So we cut to they're filming this music video, air quotes liberally used, in the engine room of the boat, except the cameraman is not there, and she is playing along with her cassette player on headphones. So is she actually doing anything, or just basically air guitaring with a prop?
I don't know if she was plugged into the mini speakers on her tiny boombox.
But even if she was doing that, she's listening to a song on headphones and
she wasn't on headphones. It was coming out of the boombox, as far as I know.
Okay, just the whole thing. I did not understand what was going on.
She separates herself from the others and goes deep into the boiler room of the ship, and instantly I was like, oh, she's gonna get killed with that guitar, right?
Of course.
And again, we get another Jason teleport because he's walking down the stairs. So she runs and goes down another set of stairs, and he's already down the hallway at the lower set of stairs.
Yep, it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
I need it. At least give me the thump of him jumping down. Give me something that isn't teleportation that isn't explained.
Yeah, and honestly, it's more menacing if he's fast. I find it much more menacing if he's able to just jump 2 stories and land on his feet and not be bothered at all, versus he can teleport.
Mm-hmm. Or just explain that he can teleport. Give me something to go on.
Yeah.
And we get the first psychic link to Jason, kind of like that one Halloween movie.
Yes.
Was it 2 or 1?
That there's a psychic link to Michael Myers?
Yeah, his niece or something. Are there
That's
2 movies or
way
1?
later. It's way. Oh. Yes,
2
it is.
movies or
It
1?
is. It is more than one movie, but it is maybe number 5 or 6. It's later in the series.
So I was like, are they related somehow? And it's just gonna be oh, all Voorheeses are afraid of water. I didn't know what was gonna happen here.
It's a fatal flaw in their family lineage. They're just
Yeah.
great-great-grandpappy Jason the First drowned, so our whole family is afraid of the agua.
Pamela Voorhees never took a bath. She was very smelly.
She was a very smelly woman.
I need an explanation for more things.
Gather round, children. I'd like to tell you that this is the legend of Pamela Voorhees, the stinkiest woman in Crystal Lake history. Then she brought her begotten son here, who was so much was he impacted by the stench of his mother that his face was deformed.
His face melted from the smell.
It was so bad.
I also spent most of this movie thinking the biology teacher Robert Loggia character was the principal, because that's what he was written as.
Yes, it absolutely is someone did a batch change from, control A, principal, control, delete, replace with, and it was it very obviously was a leadership principal character that for some inexplicable reason became a biology teacher.
I didn't get it, but I did get why he wasn't killed first.
Yeah, him lasting to the end of this movie was real frustrating.
Him outlasting the nice, good teacher? Bullshit.
Yes! Absolutely bullshit!
I was so angry when that happened. It wouldn't be an 80s movie without some good old Coke. What I thought was a lot of Coke for 2 girls in high school.
It seemed like a lot of Coke for 2 girls in high school.
I don't do the cocaine, but that seemed like a lot.
This was the amount of cocaine that in another movie is Derek has a cocaine problem. They had
Your daughter overdosed.
Yes, they had a problematic amount of cocaine available to them.
Yes.
So there's this quick sequence. We see Jason outside a window. Then this dog sees Jason and is like, "I'm out of here," and he bails. So we start looking all around the boat, and we see there's this inexplicable boxing gym also on this boat as an amenity.
It's a dumb boat.
And one of the characters, of course, is very good at boxing, which I'm pretty sure was our, classic of this show of, what's on your special skills section in your resume? Because we got to pad out this runtime. Oh, great, boxing. Perfect.
They also lead their only black character in the end. So...
They lead him?
Yeah, he tired himself out fighting the impenetrable Jason and then got knocked out in one hit.
Oh, yeah, that is kind of interesting. Then we get the cocaine thing that we just talked about a little bit, and the girl looking for the dog. Is it Rennie looking for the dog?
It's Rennie.
Yeah, Rennie's looking for the dog. She finds the 2 girls with just a Tony Montana amount of cocaine. And then the principal, or the bio teacher principal, shows up and is like,
The biology principal.
yeah, he threatens to call her parents, and then he grounds her and it's like, you're not leaving this boat when we get to Manhattan. And it's like, how do you have the authority for this? And also, what did she do that deserves the worst punishment that you have available?
She didn't turn in a biology project.
Right. Like, what? How does that have any bearing on this?
Unless it's her final and worth like 70% of her grade.
Right. So then we go to the sauna, also on this boat. This is like a very nice cruise ship for a 2.5-hour boat ride.
Right? It's like a ferry from Cape May to Lewis, and it's just like got all the amenities.
Yeah, like I can't imagine.
Can you imagine how disgusting Jason would smell in a sauna?
Oh, I can't. You would so instantaneously know when Jason Voorhees stepped into a sauna. The fact that this character is like, close the door, you're letting out all the heat, is perhaps the dumbest thing we've ever had a character do on this show. And that's saying a lot.
His reaction should have been, who just dropped a pile of dead fish and horse manure in here?
Exactly.
Like,
what smells like rotting fish guts?
it's Jason.
Unbelievable.
So he gets a hot stone through the stomach, but only for a second because we don't have the budget for it.
Yeah, no, we certainly can't afford to make this look cool. There's not enough blood either, which isn't a very inexpensive thing to add to your movie. Like, it's corn syrup and food coloring. It's very cheap to get fake blood. So the fact that there wasn't a lot of blood here disappointed me.
The whole movie didn't have a lot of blood.
I know.
It was like they only made 10 gallons and they were like, look, we got to make it work.
It's gotta last. Some poor PA is like scraping it off the wall back into the bucket.
He's got a rubber scraper to get every last drop.
He's got like a paintbrush. He's like, dipping it in areas and like getting little dots and then squeezing the paintbrush
flick.
out.
He's doing he pushes dips the toothbrush and does the thumb flick.
Yes.
So then Rennie had caught the girls doing cocaine, sort of, and they were convinced that she was going to tell on them, so they were just going to punish her no matter what. And to them, punishing her meant pushing her into an ocean.
Yeah, people die when this happens to them on cruise ships. This is not fun and games.
Like, that. Oh, she caught me doing cocaine. Better push her into the Atlantic.
It's so insane. It's so absolutely insane.
We also get... So this movie had a really low budget. Like, notoriously low. That's why Jason's not in Manhattan for an hour and 10 minutes of this hour and 40-minute movie.
Right.
That's why, the blood's so low. That's why the extras aren't there most of the time. So there's the scene where they pull Rennie out of the water. It takes too long for someone to dive in to save her, by the way.
Yes, it does.
It's the nice woman teacher, the guy who saved her, and Rennie, and then two extras behind them. And she turns and says, give her some space, and then looks to where the camera is, as though there's students there to pretend that there's other kids on this boat.
It's a very good trick, I will say.
I was like, I see you, lady. And then we get to the cocaine girl's cabin, and she's trying to seduce this 110-year-old biology teacher.
Yeah. And by the way, everything else we learned about this teacher means, to me, this character would be down for this. And he is not.
Would. As someone who works in a high school, my body is just like, nope, you don't do any of this. You don't go in the room. You don't do this.
Yeah.
Like, nope, no.
Yeah, no way. 0% chance.
I stand in the hallway where everyone can see me, and you talk to me from there.
Yep, exactly. Not even that. It's like, knock, knock, knock. Sarah, can you please come out here in the hallway and talk to me? And also, I have a female teacher here with me, so that there is 3 people involved in this process.
I chaperoned a field trip in December, and that's what we did. It was always all 4 chaperones together to visit any student. And we were like, we'll stand in the hallway, and you can talk right here.
Yep.
And so she, jumps on him, and he's definitely into it, and then decides he's not into it, but not before Dollar Store Crispin Glover can film him?
Yeah, and looks like he's into it, which honestly, this teacher was so scuzzy, I was kind of here for him being blackmailed, which is a very bad crime, but I wanted this guy to get Jason very quickly, and when he didn't, I was like, well, at least he's getting blackmailed.
Yeah, I was surprised that it was blackmail mixed with him trying to get off of her, and not blackmail of a thing you actually do. You know what I mean? Like, this character felt like the one who would actually do it.
Yeah, that's true. And then the poor nerdlinger gets rejected.
He tries, though. God bless him. He's like, hey, I'm gonna put myself out there, put my heart on the line, and she's like, LOL, get out, loser.
We also skip past the part where Rennie goes to wash her hands and blood comes out of the faucet, and then Jason grabs her through the mirror as like a
That's
flashback.
right.
Yeah, as like a dream sequence deal.
So after the popular girl kicks out the nerdy guy, she's naked. So
Yep.
Jason has to kill her.
Yep. As soon as your nipples are out, you're done in a Friday the 13th movie.
In every Friday the 13th, someone has sex, then one of those pair goes to take a shower, and then they die.
Yes.
In every one.
Yes. We talked about this before, but like the sequence of events in movies where people immediately, like in a slasher movie, someone immediately sprints to the shower is always amusing.
But then, so she gets out of the shower, puts on a bathrobe, but then gets it ripped off of her to die. And I was like, movie.
Yeah.
Movie. I'm
it was a
squinting
little
my
much.
eyes. I'm squinting my eyes and tilting my head at you, movie.
I agree. It was a little bit much.
And apparently the actress was like reticent to do it, so the director got naked
Oh, okay.
and was like, look, and like walked on camera and was like, see, there's nothing to be like nervous about. But no one told the like people who were watching the dailies, so they just got an eyeful
Oh my
of the
god.
director.
Oh my god. Oh, that's weird.
Right?
Yeah, that's very weird. Also, like, isn't that a thing that you talked about, like, well in advance of the day? Like, isn't that in the contract this person signed that they agreed to do this? Like, so it's not under... Because what you're describing sounds like it was under duress, and I know it was the 80s, but I really hope that it wasn't under duress.
I mean, nudity in a performance is weird. Like, it's like you think you're fine with it.
Agree.
Like you
Yeah.
think you're gonna be, because I did a show where I had to be naked, and the first audition said this show involves nudity. Are you okay with that? And I was like, sure, whatever, yes. And then callback number 1, same form, and I was like, yep. Callback number 3, and I was like, guess I'm committing to this now.
Yeah.
And
it's
then
not
by
real
the-
until it's real.
Yeah, and then like we didn't talk about it. It was just like, okay, now's the day to get naked. And like a co-star who was naked before was like, okay, cool. Whoop. And I was like, all right, okay, I guess I'm the only one. Okay, cool. We're doing this, cool.
She does get killed with a piece of mirror, which I thought was interesting.
I don't know, it felt anticlimactic. It felt like there was, for a lot of these deaths, there was potential to do something really cool and big and Jason. And then they were like, what's the shortest, quickest way to do this?
Well, they definitely got hosed in this movie. I was reading a little bit before, and they were talking about the fact that the movie originally was very much set in Manhattan. Like,
Yeah.
the whole movie took place there. There was a big...
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, exactly. The Statue of Liberty. Like, all stuff I thought would have been very cool. And because of budgetary reasons, they were like, hey, these movies make this much money, so you get to have this much money to make the movie, which I get. It's a formula. They didn't get to do all that cool stuff. We cut to the cabin after that, and the captain and the first mate are having a weird heart-to-heart conversation.
I did not need to learn about the handsome guy's 19-month-old son before he gets stabbed. Thank you, movie.
No, these people are cannon fodder. I do not want to feel feelings for them. I want them to be archetypes and paper-thin stereotypes so that when they die, it's funny. Like, now I'm sad. Now I'm thinking about a child growing up without a father, and when they're like, hey, whatever happened to my dad? It's like, well, a weird mutant monster thing
Corpse
came out of a
monster
lake,
murdered him on a boat.
and he's been murdering people for like a millennia at this point, and nobody knows how to stop him.
Except Freddy, apparently. But now we got a Freddy on our hand, and like,
Yeah.
what do we do now?
We haven't improved the situation. I always think of the Freddy versus Jason thing, like the version of it that would exist where someone like looses the Freddy to solve the Jason problem and now just has a Freddy problem. As if
Yeah.
someone was like, oh, like we got, like It's Always Sunny when it's like, oh, we have mice, well, we should get a cat. Oh, the cat didn't work, we'll just get another cat. And now you have a cat problem.
Now we have cats in the wall.
Yeah. So he kills the first mate and the captain as well in the
A real weak
cockpit of
throat
the
slit.
boat. Yeah, and it's like almost stealth for a Jason move, which is very unusual. Like, you do not expect Jason to be stealthy maneuvering.
This kill felt more Michael Myers than it did Jason Voorhees.
This kill felt like something out of a Vietnam War movie where someone has like PTSD and they're describing how they got it, and it's like they slid out of the muck in a village and killed a man silently and then slipped back into the muck. Like, it's crazy is what it is.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, this is like a deer hunter scene.
So, Rennie and the captain's son are like, we're going to get off this boat and leave with the Coast Guard for reasons, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
They put a lot of time making sure we knew about these characters enough to feel sorry when they died, not enough time explaining what was happening in the movie. And they get to the cockpit, as we called it, and they're like, oh, dead bodies. I don't know what to do. So they like sound the alarm bells, and only once everyone is there do they try and radio for help.
Yeah. It feels like the order of operations is missing a couple steps in the way that these people do it.
It should be like, hey, Rennie, you get on the loudspeaker and tell everyone there's been a murder. I will instantly get on the radio and try to get help.
Right. And also, this is a much different kind of Jason because Jason yanks the wires out of the thing so they can't call for help.
It's a more self-aware, kind of silly Jason, I think.
Yeah. Like we said, Jason Halpert.
Now I just want that. Like a skit.
No.
Like how there was the It department.
Yeah, you could easily do that. So the creepy janitor is on the boat, and he like shows up to clean up the blood, I guess, and spells out.
I think he's just a deckhand.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason, I guess because it's a high school, I assumed he was the creepy janitor, but you're probably correct.
You know how the janitor goes on your class trips.
Yeah, exactly. The friendly neighborhood janitor who's like there to clean up the blood from the Jason kills. But he like knows the entire Jason mythos and recaps it for these kids. So as an audience, it's the second time we've gotten the this is Jason and what's going on thing, which feels excessive to me.
He also saw Jason's boat come into the harbor and immediately knew it was Jason somehow. Like, knew it was something wrong.
Yeah,
and
he
then
does.
When he finally says just now, it's Jason Voorhees, I almost call him the principal. The biology principal is like, you've been spouting off about Jason Voorhees all night. And I was like, no, unless there's stuff we haven't seen.
There's a lot of scenes on the cutting room floor where this janitor just like continually tried to warn people and people like just ignored him constantly. Like, yeah, all right, whatever you say, kooky old man, Jason Voorhees.
He like sneaks into the room where the girl's taking a shower and writes Jason Voorhees is here on the mirror and then leaves.
Or I'm imagining like a subplot where he's just like trying to be very helpful and being ignored repeatedly. He's like writing down Post-its and putting them in places and like pulling the fire alarm and people are like, ugh, and turning it back off.
Click, click.
Yeah. Somehow the anchor gets stopped.
Because the captain's son tells Rennie to go drop the anchor.
Yeah.
Which feels like not the thing. Like, I want to go full steam ahead now. Like, let's just, there's no sea police. Let's go as fast as we can. Crash into New York Harbor like Jurassic Park 2.
Yeah.
And just go.
At the point in which several of my classmates are dead and the boat captain and first mate have been killed, like, I do not need the safest method of travel anymore. I'm good just getting off of the boat.
We're just going to go gun it as fast as we can. Tell everyone to buckle up.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody prepare for impact because we're going to speed to this bitch.
I'm going to crash into the Statue of Liberty because then I know I'm on land. They just get like a boat-shaped hole in the middle of the Statue of Liberty as it like jumps. It goes a ramp.
So then we get Disco Jason, which I really do enjoy.
Yeah, the girl, the smart girl who's friends with the popular girl, finds her dead body and then finds Jason and runs into the closed disco and just stops there on the dance floor.
Yeah, and it's like the music is thumping and pumping, and then this scene really has a teleporting Jason because this room is not big enough. This room is not big enough for Jason to do what he does if there's not teleporting powers because he keeps just zipping into other corners and stuff. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He also chokes her to death, which I don't know that I remember seeing Jason do in a movie before.
I think this was the first time.
Okay, because it's like very, like, I know this is going to sound like an insane word I'm about to use here, but bear with me. It's a very intimate way of killing someone, and Jason is not usually, like, intimately killing his victims. He's usually just, like, indiscriminately stabbing and, punching and cutting and whatever. And this is, like, a very, like, I'm coming into your space and...
Well, he chokes her and picks her up, and I thought he was going to, like shove her into the disco ball or something.
Yeah, like, jab her head up into it or smash it down over her head would also be very cool.
Or like hang her from the disco ball thing, so she's just hanging there spinning. Like, that's the Jason Voorhees. That's the creative Jason Voorhees
that I know.
Jason, tap papers. This is the way your drinking has affected me.
Hashtag not my Jason. We get a really smart action from characters, which is so rare in a slasher movie. But one of the kids is like, hey, let's find all the weapons we can round up.
But then his follow-up command is, let's split up and look for Jason.
Yep, I was so high to so low so quickly.
It should be, let's grab weapons, all stand back to back in a circle, and just rotate slowly.
Yes, exactly. I think that was a joke on Community, maybe?
Probably.
Yeah. But yes, everybody grab a weapon, and we're all going to stand back to back, and when you see him, you scream, and we form a wall all facing the same direction. And then we encircle Jason and take turns hitting him with our blunt objects.
It'll be probably set to a Queen track.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
So the nerdy Crispin Glover guy has his camera and a
he
pistol?
lost his glasses. Oh, sorry.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
He loses his glasses, but he has a pistol somehow.
Yes.
Even though I thought that, what's his name?
I don't know.
His name is also a god. It's not Apollo, but his name is also a god's name.
Okay. The boxer guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, the boxer guy gets a shotgun.
Yeah, but he made it sound like he had the gun.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I was like, maybe we should not give this nerdy kid, here's the thing. If I'm there and we're divvying up weapons, I'm going to take that out of his hand and maybe give him, I don't know, a pipe or something.
Has no one seen Heathers? Like, this is JD. This is so clearly JD.
Yeah. But his camera has a light on it, which turns out to be a single beam flashlight and not like a wide wash filming light.
Well, no, that's what they used to be.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then what was the point
it was
of
just
them?
nothing. It was useless. But they were basically a little. It was basically the free flashlight you get at a what's that cheap hardware store called?
In Harbor Freight.
Yes, it was basically like a Harbor Freight flashlight, but not even, because those are LEDs. It was basically like the G.I. Joe toy flashlight I had as a kid, strapped to the top of a camera.
Oh, okay.
Jason, so the nerdlinger is using the camera as his glasses because his glasses are gone, and he sees a person moving in front of him, and so he just shoots it, and it turns out to be his best friend.
Or someone on the boat.
Some friend, maybe not his best friend. I did,
not many characters got labeled.
Yeah, that's true. But like, totally insane the sequence of events here. Like,
He also then loses his gun.
Yeah. I wanted Jason to shoot him, which I know would be crazy rule breaking for Jason. Not that he's like Batman. Jason has never used a gun as far as I know. But I really did want him to end up getting gunned because of the stupidity of this.
Yeah. Instead, he gets thrown into a mechanical button wall and catches fire?
Yeah. And it has a really cool POV moment through the camera for like a second, which I enjoyed. And then it's over and he's on fire.
That would have been cool if, like, you had seen the whole him getting grabbed and thrown through the lens of the camera.
Yes, it would have been very
That
cool
would have
looking.
been sick. And I don't even like
too
shaky
expensive.
cam.
Yeah, probably too expensive though.
That's true.
So there's a fire now, and they're in the cockpit of the ship, and there's like all the fire alarms going off, and the bio teacher principal is like, "Oh, that must be fake. Turn off the alarm." I'm like, what about this situation leads you to believe it's fake? Chaos is raining on this boat right now.
And also actual rain.
Like, you've seen so many people are dead.
He also separates his niece, Rennie. He, like, goes and locks her in her room, and he's like, she's fine. And I was like, no, let's all stay together.
Yes, again, circle, back to back, weapons ready.
Ducks fly together.
Well, in this case, ducks die alone. I also like the part where the kid with the axe takes a swing at Jason. It happens right after this, and Jason just catches it and then throws it away, like yanks it out of his hands. The display of brute strength is a delight.
It's great. But then it lands at the feet of the kid with a shotgun, and he doesn't run the direction it came from. He runs the direction it was going.
Yeah, it's colossally stupid.
The bio principal, we missed also, he goes, he's like the worst human, like across the board.
Yeah, he is.
And he's like, you haven't fixed our course yet, high school student? And he's like, no, I'm trying. And he's like,
I'm not ready to be the captain.
And he goes, you're the son of a ship captain. Shouldn't you know how to do this? And I was like, I'm the son of a CFO, so does that mean I should know how to balance the budget for a large company? Because I don't.
Right, exactly.
Like, what was your dad, bio principal?
It's like, oh, my dad was a bio principal, so that's why I went into bio principling.
And then his plan is to shoot the crazy deckhand with the flare gun.
Yeah, I don't
What?
quite follow. No, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So one of the kids starts climbing the tower to, I guess, try to fix the antenna is the goal here.
No, he's running away from Jason.
Oh, okay.
And Jason teleports up the ladder to him and throws him, impaling him on something.
Yeah, it's kind of gnarly and awesome.
And then the kid with the shotgun gets thrown overboard.
Yeah, the boxer. Just like, hup, and then a big splash.
It's like basically the equivalent of doing that thing where you grab someone's arms and legs and do a 1, 2, 3 swing and into a pool.
Yes,
It's just
exactly.
like, hup, ho, hup.
Yep.
And there was a really... Okay, there was a few things I liked in this movie. There was a really great knife shot where we're tracking the bio principal down the kitchen, and there's like pots and pans and a single knife hanging. And he gets to the end, like we pass that fully with the camera, and then he goes to the other side and starts coming back towards the camera on the other side of the counter. And the camera pans back through those hanging pots and stuff, and the knife is missing now. And I was like, that was a great shot. I saw it coming, but it was still cool.
Yeah. It was a very well staged thing, which you don't really expect in Jason Part 8, 7? I forget which
8.
one this is. Yeah. So Rennie has a vision of Jason drowning, and then Jason like pops through the porthole and starts yanking her, and she stabs him in the eye with Stephen King's pen, which is really awesome.
And then she runs away. The nice lady teacher has gathered the remaining alive students, which is 3, and leaves them in the restaurant and is like, stay here and wait for me to come back.
Yeah.
And then promptly abandons them all.
Yep. She does.
Like, why was that? We never got a resolution.
I think she might have been in cahoots with Jason.
Oh, she was like rounding them up.
She's like, I'll convince them to all go into one room with no weapons, and then you go eat them all.
He doesn't eat any.
I
He's
know.
in Texas Chainsaw. Good lord. But like that might be my gig in a horror movie. Like, look, if you don't kill
You're
me,
secretly working with the killer.
if you don't kill me, I'll round up my friends. But then I go to my friends and I'm like, guys, I know where the killer is. We have to get the fuck out of here. Let's go this way. So I double cross. I'm like Black Widow. So they abandon everyone in the restaurant. We find the dog again. He showed up.
Yeah, the dog has made a triumphant return.
Yeah, good doge. And they escape on a lifeboat that they have to row and like rudder.
Yes, and they pull Julius is the boxer's name, by the way.
Julius.
Yeah, they pull him out of the water. He's like inexplicably. I guess he's been treading.
No,
for,
he
like,
jumps out. He Jasons them.
Yes,
He like pops out of the water like
yeah,
and jumps into the boat.
What he was doing underwater for all that time, I don't really know, but I guess he's fine.
Being a peak athlete, apparently.
Yeah. Well, he is a boxer. That is a lot of cardio.
There's a really cool foggy lifeboat shot of them like rowing through the fog. I didn't write down what exactly he said, but I wrote, "Now is not the time for snark, bio principal."
It's funny you thought it was a cool shot because I thought it was an absolutely garbage shot to hide the fact that they were doing this in a tank at the studio, like because to hide the fact that they can't
I
fake
know
New York
that.
City. Okay, because I was like, it's just a room full of fog.
Yeah. I know what it was for. Like, they're hiding that, but I thought it was cool. And then, once again, the bio principal, like, they finally make it to New York and get off the boat, and he's like, what a great place to dock the boat, Samuel. And I was like, you know what? You try it then. Let's go
pal.
back in time, and you can be the leader. You can be the captain.
I don't have intrinsic knowledge of the New York City public dock system. We're in a dang rowboat. I was doing the best I could. Unbelievable. The guy is such an a-hole. Like, when he finally gets Jason here
The
ahead,
fact that he is the third last... He's the
I
last
know.
of our main characters to die is mind-boggling.
Yeah, and I guess that was intentional. Like, they wanted you to be, like, really rooting for Jason to kill him, but, like, man, it's crazy.
But you know who I wasn't rooting for Jason to kill? The sweet, kind teacher lady.
Yes.
I thought it was going to be a Miss Honey Matilda situation, and at the end of the movie, it was like, I'm going to take care of you from now on because I care about you.
at the very least, she deserved a hero sacrifice death.
Yes.
Where she's like,
Run.
I'll slow him down. You guys run. And then she just like does some sort of elaborate thing to try to slow Jason down. She hits him with a car or something. You know what I mean? Like something. She should have had a better death.
Yeah. Instead.
Also, Jason appears to have just swam the whole way to New York City.
Yeah, I guess he's not afraid of the water, but I don't know. Because in Freddy versus Jason, like, that's the thing. Jason's afraid of water and Freddy's afraid of fire.
I'm not even talking about the thing you're talking about, which is an incredibly valid point you're making. I'm saying these people took turns rowing a rowboat and struggled, and he just, like, Michael Phelps to the city. Like, I know he's a superhuman demon monster, but there's a reason why the swim portion of a triathlon is the shortest, because it's incredibly strenuous.
I don't think he swims so much as he Pirates of the Caribbeans.
Oh, walks on the bottom?
And just, like, walks on the bottom of the ocean floor.
That would make sense.
So it's an hour and 10 minutes, and Jason is finally in Manhattan.
He's about to take it by storm.
He looks up at a giant hockey mask billboard for Eastern Hockey League, I think it was.
Yeah, it was a fake hockey league.
And then turns and looks at the camera.
This is where I wrote the Jim Halpert bit. And then there's a few of them after this. It's not just this one. Like all throughout New York is Jim Halpert stuff.
So these two thugs pop out of nowhere and decide to rob the gang. And rather than be like, hey, there is a crazy murderer behind us, we need to get going. They're just like, okay, here's my wallet. And they decide that the ticky-tacky costume jewelry is something also worth stealing.
Right. I don't get why, as writing this movie, you're thinking like, oh, you know what else needs to happen to these characters? They need to get mugged right now.
And raped and drugged.
Yes, it's the injecting her with drugs is like one of the craziest things that I can remember in any movie we've done. Like I
thought it was gonna like almost happen, and then Jason was gonna show up.
Yeah. Who he does. That's the crazy part of this sequence is you're like hoping Jason saves the day, and he kind of does.
Waiting for Jason to show up to this poor girl.
Yeah, you're like, I really hope Jason gets here so that this girl doesn't get sexually assaulted by these two psychos, and then he does, and he's the hero of this moment.
But they've already injected her with what they call cane, and I don't remember. I have never heard anyone refer to cocaine as cane. It's only been coke.
Also, you don't inject cocaine, you inject crack, from what I understand.
It's a snorting drug.
Yeah, that's right. That's cocaine's a snorting drug.
In my very limited knowledge of drug use.
You know, the classic snorting drugs.
You got your snorting, your shooting, and your smoking.
Yeah, exactly.
Take your pick.
The three N's of drug use.
Oh, the three S's, actually. The three S's.
Yeah, the three S's. There you go.
And smoking.
He also does a great Jason kill in this because he kills the dude with the needle, which I really appreciated.
Yeah. He stabs it through his back into his stomach.
I was also imagining this as like, I think we talked about this before, where like there was an era where TV shows could get money for doing, it was not in the 80s, but there's an era where TV shows could get money for like very special episodes of like, you know, encouraging.
We had a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah. Like PSAs basically. And I just was imagining someone like recutting this sequence to as like a PSA for not doing drugs. Like if you shoot heroin, Jason will stab you with the needle.
If this was a Friday the 13th movie, Jason or Freddy would have like continually pumped the needle into his arm until it like inflated like a balloon and popped.
Yes, exactly. So Jason gets shot 6 times from point blank range, which gives her enough time to try to like scramble away.
While Rennie is like trying desperately to wiggle out of this dead weight, full grown adult man on top of her.
To be fair, she has just been injected with a huge amount of drugs.
No, she has, and that's not what I'm saying. I was saying, why was it framed in a way so that Jason was getting shot as she's like wiggling in the background trying to get this dead weight off of her?
It's so awkward looking. She's like really struggling. Like the actress is really selling this guy weighing 100 pounds or 200 pounds or 400 pounds or whatever.
So she gets away, and Jason again anticlimactically kills the other drug guy.
Yeah.
So the only shot of the movie that is, this is how cocaine affects her negatively, is one moment of that like kaleidoscope swirly vision.
Yes.
And other than that, she is perfectly fine after being injected with a substantial amount of cocaine.
Yeah, like a huge syringe full of it. It's not just like
It's
a
like
little bit.
A quarter to a half full.
Yeah, it's more than that. It's almost all the way full. It's
Yeah.
a comic amount. Like if someone was if this was you know how sometimes on Halloween they have people dressed up as doctors and nurses and like giving out shots in
Syringes, yeah.
Yeah, syringe shots. You'd be like, that's a little too much liquor. Like that's a little too much
Maybe
for the
you
novelty.
would.
but I'm saying for like the novelty of like someone squirting it into your mouth, you're like, that's a little bit too much at once. Like just the volume is too much for the thing that you're trying to give it. Like I'm on board
Trip
for
does
the
gay things.
Yes, like exactly. So meanwhile, Julius is the only member of this clan to find a phone booth. It's almost like the rest of them are doing this in the modern era.
Yeah, right.
And he is in there like trying to dial for help, and Jason attacks him through the phone booth. But then they like end up on a roof. Like the sequence of events that leads to this very cool shot, this like genuinely my favorite shot in the whole movie, is so buck wild. It's like
It doesn't
fighting
make
a
sense.
phone booth, yeah. And then they're on the roof, and Jason does like a shrug, like "Come at me, bro." And as you described before, Julius like punches himself out until he can't throw any more punches. And Jason takes one swing and knocks his head literally off of his body as it rolls down the side of the
dumpster.
roof. Yes. And there's also like a half-second POV shot of as the head, like from the head's eyes, basically, as it rolls down.
Yeah.
But they fight forever on this rooftop. Like it takes so
Padding
long.
the runtime, guys.
Yeah. I don't understand like what we're doing this for. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And then we see the sweet, nice lady teacher walking down the streets of New York trying to find the girl, and a cop pulls a gun on her. And I was like,
Yeah.
was no one described to this police officer like, hey, two young men attacked my niece. Why are you pulling your gun on an a middle-aged woman?
Yeah, like hello, there's serious issues at play here. Can you help?
Two 20-something men, not a 40-year-old woman trying her best.
They all pile into a cop car. Like they found some help. They're like, oh my god, Jason is here. They pile into this cop car.
The
and
cop
Jason-
says, your story sounds crazy, but you seem like nice folk, so I guess I'll believe you.
and all four of them wedge into the back of this cop car, like very comically. And then the Jason kills the cop while they're stuck back there.
No, Julius's head is inside the cop car.
Oh, that's right. It's like hanging from the dash. Again, Jason, like Jim Halpert.
mastermind.
Jason, well, Jim Halpert, he's taken the time to plan these elaborate pranks. Mm-hmm. It's like, he put Julius's head in Jell-O first.
I was just thinking that. So then Rennie climbs over the seat into the driver's seat, and I guess Jason decides that he shouldn't be next to the car anymore. He should be all the way down the alley now, because that's where he is. And biology principal is like, what are you doing, Rennie? Get out of the driver's seat. And it's like, will someone knock him out?
Yeah.
Like, I know knocking out isn't a good thing. And
Yeah.
like in the movies they pretend like it's, oh, sorry, best friend, but like it means that your brain has touched the wall of your skull
Yeah.
in a way that it shouldn't touch the wall of your skull.
Exactly.
And your brain goes to sleep for a minute.
Yeah.
It's not
bad.
a good thing.
No.
But someone knock this guy out.
Yeah, like give me a movie KO for this dingbat because I can't take him anymore. I just
So
can't.
she drives and runs over Jason, and I was like, hey, now we throw it in reverse and back over, and then we go forward again and back up again.
Literally until the car stops working. You just
Yep.
want to keep doing it. Yep.
Or you just leave the car parked on him.
Yeah.
And then everybody bounce.
Yeah.
Everybody bounce in your seats.
To try to squish him.
Yeah, squish him more. Get the head to pop. I don't care. There's like things you can do here. And so she sees.
I'm just imagining that scene in a movie where they like get the tire over Jason's head and everybody starts jump bouncing up and
Just
down.
like doing a little seat bounce.
Yeah.
I want that movie. Actually, you know what would be a really kind of cool movie? Would be like a final girl and Jason are like locked in the final battle.
Yeah.
And as he goes to strike the final blow, lightning hits him, and they're zapped to present day. So it's an 80s final girl and a contemporary final girl trying to outsmart 80s Jason.
You've basically described the plot of the movie Final Girls.
Oh. Damn it. Well, I guess
You
I'm in
could
the
just
right
watch
field.
it. It exists.
It does exist. Because I was like, when you said earlier, like, oh, he's the only one who found a payphone. I would love that scene in a movie where a girl's like, quick, where's the nearest payphone? And everyone's like, nowhere?
Well, it's the opposite. I guess it's the opposite. In the movie Final Girls, the modern kids go to the 80s movie, and they're in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I kind of like that idea.
It's an entertaining movie. I like it.
So she sees young Jason, who is now in a full mask and not just half of a lazy prosthetic, so he can get hit by the car. And she just, like, pedal to the metal slams the car into a brick wall, and it catches fire.
Yeah, really not super good driving she does.
And they decide to pull the dickbag biology principal out of the car before the nice lady teacher.
Yeah!
And she then explodes.
Unbelievable. It's such a bad death
So
for this
angry.
character. Yeah.
That's not the death she deserved.
Meanwhile, we get a flashback to Rennie in a rowboat with the bio teacher, uncle of hers, and he just like shoved her into the thing like we talked about before. He just like ruined this girl's whole life. Like whole life.
I thought we were going to get that he touched her as a kid based on the way the scene was going.
Yeah, no, it did seem like that.
He was like, you're becoming a woman now, and you've become here a lot, and you never get in the water. Why don't you put on your bathing suit? And I was like, 100%
Yep.
was like, that's where we're going, and I'm not okay.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. But the water thing is also really bad that he does, where he just like hucks her into a boat. It's crazy. Or hucks her out of the boat, rather.
And he's like, try not to drown, bitch, and then like motors away, like sprays wake in her face.
Yeah, exactly. Like a punk tough in a ski movie.
So she turns around and is like, oh, you pushed me into the water, and Jason's always been in the water. And they push him into a large pile of shredded papers.
Yes. It's very bizarre.
Why are there so many shredded papers in this
It's like,
alleyway?
Is this just a document shredding office that happens to be in this seedy part of town? Does the rents are cheap?
Yes. And then Jason drowns him in a barrel of what looks like the toxic waste goo from later in the movie.
Yes. Is apparently just gross, yucky water. There's also
it's
like
New York.
There's also like a rat drowned in it. Like earlier in the movie when we had like the establishing shots of New York, there was a rat swimming in it basically. Like looked like it was just like lounging and shook itself off. And now it's like
it was
a dead
basically
drowned rat.
Rizzo in Muppet Treasure
Yes,
Island.
exactly. Margaritas at the midnight buffet, indeed.
Margaritas at the midnight buffet.
The only thing I wish is that it was toxic waste, so that when they dunked the principal bio teacher in there, like we heard his body sizzling and
The
getting
sizzle dissolve and the smoke. Yeah, I would have liked that.
Yeah, because that's what he deserved. He was a huge jack. I hate him more than Jason Voorhees, who's a murderer.
Yeah, basically.
But like, yeah, it is very bizarre. Like, why is this toxic waste even here? This whole scenario.
Well,
is
we later
bizarre.
find out that every night at midnight, the large walkable sewer tunnels of New York City fill up with toxic waste at midnight.
Yes,
And I was like, hang on. Hold the goddamn phone.
Yeah.
You expect me to believe what? Like, I'll believe Jason Voorhees came back because of an anchor on a power line. I'll believe that he can teleport. You want me to believe what?
Yeah, you can get the hell out of here. They don't just pump toxic waste through the New York sewers.
So he kills him. Rennie's boyfriend finds her sitting in a recliner that's just in an alley.
In this alley.
Do you
Not
know
just
how
any alley? This
Do you know how
alley.
many bums have jerked off on that chair?
Or worse. That
No,
chair is
no,
a
that chair's a toilet.
Absolutely, that chair is a toilet.
There's a
That's what I was
toilet,
building-
it's a girlfriend, and it's a bed. So get out of that chair.
Yeah. No, thank you.
So Jason appears because he's like, I'm not going anywhere, and it's like, let's not make lofty claims, boyfriend. So
Yeah.
far, the track record for her friends surviving hasn't been great. So Jason appears, and they run into the subway system and get on a train, and the doors close, and somehow Jason's on the train too.
Yeah, why not? And I also like this part is like one of those movies are always like making New Yorkers even more
A-hole.
over it. But not a-hole, but just like over it than they are in real life. And like this fish smelling monster person with a knife
Goopy
is like
monster.
Yeah, he's dripping green goop down the the aisle of the subway, and no one even looks up from their paper. And then the kids start screaming for help, and people are like, "Would you keep it down over there?"
I'm trying to jerk off here.
The recliner is on the subway.
And Jason, like, shoulder checks an extra, and it looks like she wasn't prepared to be shoulder checked.
No,
It
she
looks
goes ass
real
over tea
painful.
kettle. Yes, she doesn't look like she was ready for it at all.
Yeah, ass over tea kettle into another person on a seat, and it's just like, hey.
There's also an extra that looks just like a young Tommy Wiseau from The Room.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
He's just like one of the people on the train.
So they get to the end of the train, and Jason's just kind of stalking there. And I almost wish they had died just so I could see what the rest of New York would have reacted.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been a great black comedy moment of, like, blood splash across the newspaper, flip the newspaper down to look at what's happening, and roll your eyes like tourists. And
Yeah,
flip the
exactly.
paper back up. And then Jason just grabs the handrail and waits.
He just gets off at the next station and walks
Yeah.
through.
He goes to get juniors. So
He
instead
goes to get juniors.
Yeah, he gets juniors and a corned beef.
And a famous original Ray's.
Yeah. He goes to his favorite pizza place, Sbarro's. So they pull the emergency brake and then jump off the train. And when Jason gets off to investigate, they push him into the third rail, which electrocutes him and should be the end of the movie.
Yes, absolutely should be the end of the movie. It should be Jason dies, and then a bunch of people in that subway get real pissed at these kids because they made the subway stop working.
Yes. And then as the kids are being yelled at by the people, camera pans down to Jason's eyes pop open, roll credits.
Yes. Yeah, I'm here for
That's
that.
it.
That is the perfect ending for this movie. Instead, we finally get Jason outside in New York City.
Just walking around Manhattan.
He like
Being
emerges
silly.
he emerges into Times Square from a subway station, which like nobody is fazed by, and then he starts chasing them through.
Well,
and
there's
we
a definite streaker who got off the subway too. He's wearing a black trench coat and no pants.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like,
probably not a streaker, probably a
or not streaker, flasher, that's what I meant.
Yeah. But they have these guys listening to the 80s rap on a big old boombox, and then
School is for squares and homework sucks.
yes, exactly. And Jason F's up their boombox, and they start being like, hey, we're going to kill you, man. And this is the part of the movie that is the most ridiculous. Jason doesn't attack them. He just lifts the mask and shows them his
Beetlejuices
mangled...
them.
Yes! It's like so tonally weird for a Friday the 13th movie. And then he just like, they all run away, obviously. And he's just like, cool, now you saw my gross face.
I don't understand. So the beginning of the movie is like Jason came from the grave and vowed to attack all teenagers.
Yes.
He's now in a city full of teenagers and still is only targeting our heroes.
Yes. Yeah, I don't get it. Like, you'd think this would be Jason's dream, just like endless teenagers to murder and stab.
So they run into a diner and they're like, can we use your phone? And she's like, there's a pay phone in the back. And they go to use it and she's like, it's broken.
Yeah.
And they're like, there's someone trying to kill us. And she's like, welcome to New York. Lady, I get that you're a straw man for this New York, but like, dear God, I need help.
Yeah, it's like, there is a phone in this diner. Like, clearly you can help these kids. They're scared.
And so Jason kicks through a wall in the diner.
Yes. There's a wall that's just made of tissue paper in this diner,
Yeah,
apparently.
it's a Japanese feudal door. And Jason just is like, and
Japanese feudal door should have been on the bingo sheet, by the way. No
Oh,
offense to
it should
Sophie,
have.
who did a great job. Once again, if you haven't seen that, dig it up on our social media. It's really, really awesome. But you say that so much.
that and she's all
me.
that.
It always kills me. But I just that would have been a good candidate.
It's
for the
one of those
bingo.
things that's like a solid reference,
Yeah.
but always comes out of left field. But when
Yes.
it does, you're like, oh no, that was 100%.
Yeah, no,
I get
it is a good. It is a good descriptor for what that is.
that and she's all that.
Yeah,
Should have made it on the bingo sheet.
yeah.
So the line cook, who's like a big buff and tough dude, gets to like attack Jason, and Jason throws him into a mirror. And it turns out that this guy was not only a body double for Jason in this movie, he played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, that's cool. It's a weird like. I guess he's a stuntman, probably.
Probably that's why
Yeah.
They were like, hey, you can take a punch as Jason. You want to get thrown into a diner mirror?
It's a pretty cool stunt, I will say.
Yeah, it's
It's a
great.
pretty dope scene. Yeah, I like it.
We get a great cracked mirror shot of Jason walking past a shattered mirror, so his like body keeps jumping around. Then Rennie and her boyfriend, whose name I don't think we've said once on the show, and I can't remember.
I don't remember it either. He's a very faceless character.
Climb into the sewers, and all I could think was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover.
Yeah, that would be dope. Jason versus the Turtles is a movie I'm here for.
Seriously, though.
Yeah.
So they're running through the sewers, and Jason's following them, and they run into creepy-looking sanitation worker, who looks... Who does he look like? He looks kind of like the bad guy in... Is it Last Action Hero? The guy with the shiny axe?
Yeah. I can't remember that actor's name. He was in a movie that we did on the show before, but I can't
Ghost.
for the life of me remember his name.
Right?
Oh,
The
yeah,
guy
yeah,
from
he's in
Ghost?
Yeah. It does look a little bit like that.
That guy.
Yeah.
And they're like, we have to get out of the sewers. And he's like, well, you're not a minute too soon, because these sewers are about to fill up with toxic waste like they do every night at midnight. And I was like... Like, I can audibly eye roll. Like, I wish I was in the movie just to be like, I get it. Okay, fine, cool. That's in a reality now. We don't have to explain why Jason teleports, but God help us if we don't explain that the New York City sewer system fills with toxic waste every night.
I just, like, the idea that someone thinks that's even remotely fine to put in their movie is pants on head crazy to me.
I agree.
Like, in what world would that be the way that things operated?
None. Not a damn world. So it cuts to them gently, softly, slowly walking through the sewers. And I was like, hey, kids, you know what the danger is. This guy doesn't. You should tell him to get the lead out.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, there's a huge, crazy monster person chasing us. He's going to rip your face off if you don't hurry.
So Jason pops out of a corner, knocks out the boyfriend, and then we get a really stupid silhouette murder of the sanitation worker.
Yeah, it's very lame.
It was a bummer.
It's almost like we've run out of money. We can't put this on camera anymore.
We're getting to the end of the movie. Yeah. So as Jason's about to kill the guy, Rennie is like, you didn't kill me in the cramped Crystal Lake, and you're not gonna kill me now.
Yeah.
And flashes a flashlight in his face and runs away. And Jason decides to go after her instead of just killing the boyfriend?
Yeah, I don't understand that part either. Like, it all doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
So she finds a small barrel of toxic waste.
Just laying around.
A subtle small barrel. And breaks it open with the flashlight. Because it looks like... You know those candy tins where you push on the middle and the sides flare out so you can remove the lid, and then you squeeze it? That's what it looked like. It looked like she needed to just push the center so it would pop open.
Yeah, no, that's pretty accurate.
And then she throws the toxic waste in Jason's face, and it starts to melt, and the hockey mask falls off, and he's like even more drippy than he was once.
Yeah, it's real gnarly.
And so now Jason can feel pain and vocalize. Took us 7 movies.
But also, like, for some reason, when they throw toxic waste on him and then, like, the wave of toxic waste comes, it turns Jason back into a child.
Didn't get it.
Yeah. I don't understand how that sequence of events is supposed to make sense to me in my brain.
I don't think it is so much as just, like, the movie was like, look, we have 5 minutes left because we padded this movie so damn much. So she runs back to the boyfriend, and he, like, won't get up. And I was like, leave him. Be like, look,
at this point,
you have
I'm
15
done.
seconds to stand up on your feet. And
Not
if you
even.
aren't, I'm being
5.
generous with 15.
Yeah,
like,
no fucking way.
If you
I'm
are not
leaving.
vertical in 15 seconds, I'm leaving you, and you can drown in the toxic waste with Jason.
Exactly.
Eat a dick, boyfriend. So... They escape the sewer. They, like, hold each other above the sewage waste, the toxic waste. Jason gets turned into a baby again. They climb out of the sewers, and the dog shows up. And then he's like, hey, I recovered. And it's like, oh, thank God, you recovered my cheap, shitty costume jewelry. You definitely spent 4 whole quarters on it.
It was really important to me that this vending machine gift you got me come back to me at the end of the movie.
Like, the Statue of Liberty was never important to her. Like,
no.
I don't get it.
No, there needed to be a scene to set up, like, why going to New York was important for this character in order for this Statue of Liberty to make any sense whatsoever.
Like, my parents took me there when I was a kid, and then we were supposed to go on another trip, and then they died, so I never got to go. Like,
exactly.
You padded 15 to 20 minutes of this movie with slow cuts to people and extraneous cruise ship activities. You couldn't give me 30 seconds of why New York and the Statue of Liberty are important?
Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, none. Would you recommend it? I mean, I guess final thoughts before we get into that, but final thoughts / would you recommend this?
It's fine. It's just too long. Like, it's good for a drinking and, like, jeering at the movie kind of thing, but it's just long.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, when part 4 is so perfectly what you want out of a Jason movie, it's hard for anything else to live up to that. And to me, that is the one that you want always.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Jason 1 has its merits. We've said 1,000 times, of the Nightmare Friday Halloween originals, Halloween is the best, but
yeah, to me, part 4 is my favorite Friday the 13th movie. So, like, every time we come across a Friday the 13th, like, actual date and it puts me in the mood to watch one, that's what I pop on.
Yeah, we just had one.
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch one on that actual day, but that was the one I was going to watch.
I didn't either. I thought about getting a Friday the 13th tattoo, but
really?
It's a thing. So they'll draw up, a lot of tattoo shops will, like, draw up a sheet of paper, and they're like, any tattoo on the sheet is $13 with a $7 tip. Oh. So you pay $20 to get usually they're like, I don't know.
I thought you meant a tattoo related to the Friday the 13th film franchise, and I was like, you do not like these movies that much. What is wrong with you? Okay.
No, thank you.
Okay.
I'm gonna get Jason's face and like my back shredded, so it looks like he's killing me and pushing his way out.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen that; it exists. I also would give this like a light recommend, but it's definitely not my favorite of the Friday the 13th.
Yeah, it's a soft recommend.
Yeah, I would put this in the. I honestly I like most of the Friday the 13th movies, but I would put this in the bottom half of those. I think not at the bottom, but at the bottom half.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the show. We got a couple quick things to talk through here, and then we will be donezo. If you want more of us, facebook.com/dissectingthe80s, twitter.com/dissectthe80s. One real important note, we would love it if you could help us out. We're doing a clip show for our 100th coming up. So in addition to showing some clips of the show, if you have any favorites, please email them to dissectingthe80s@gmail.com. But also, if you want to leave us a message that we put in that clip show, if we get them, we'll put them in. If we don't, that's okay. But 856-DISSECT, if you leave a message, we will probably add it in that show, unless you say something like terribly offensive, I guess. But yeah, we're doing a cool couple of things.
We're gonna blast you and send it to your family on Facebook.
I don't think so. I don't think I will do that, but that's okay. Anyway, we're coming up rapidly on our 100th episode, so if you could help us out, we would really appreciate that. Don't forget to rate the show on iTunes if you haven't done that yet. That can be your gift to us for listening to all the episodes. We would love to have that, and we read those on the air. We will return on May 21st to continue Takes Manhattan with...
The Muppets Take Manhattan! Yay!
Until then, I have been Trip Lano.
I will always be Andrew Lano.
Until May 21st.
Don't you forget about me.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production. Things we're gonna cut out in editing.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your inexplicable New Jersey to Manhattan cruise ship. Something's gotta be done. I realized I had to say it twice as I was saying it.
Yeah.
Something's gotta be done about your inexplicable Manhattan.
Start it over.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Fuck. Get it out. We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your inexplicable new... Fuck me. We gotta go back. We gotta go.
Start over.
I'm going to. Let me have this.